Now to the Embargoed section, so those of yes, I can see you straight away. Nice to see hands go up actually in person for a change. But Pete, obviously, if we're filing, we're sending back. Everyone's aware now that, and those of you who are on Zoom as well, dialed in, that everything from here on in is under embargo until 10:30 p.m. this evening, which is Friday the 26th. So every question and answer from here on in under embargo until 10:30 p.m. this evening, Friday the 26th. I think we're good to go, and we'll go with Andy Hunter, and then we'll go to Chris Basket. Right left. Yes, Andy.
Hi, Jurgen. On Sadio Mane's form, I know you've spoken previously about the benefits of him having a proper break and a proper pre-season. He was very hard on himself last season on his form. Did you have to do anything differently? Did you approach him? Did you know when to speak to him or when to back off? And do you think perhaps the plaudits that Mo Salah's been getting this year has perhaps driven him on as well to recapture his former form?
I think we can, to judge Sadio, we can separate it completely from Mo, for example, like what it helps or whatever that people speak about him or him. Sadio is a world-class player itself. That's it. I mean, you see about the numbers, then it's 100 or 200% sure, but I think Mo has now 108 or 109 goals, 108 goals, and Sadio has 101. Not all of them for Liverpool, obviously some in Southampton, but just shows similar age group. So what the two guys did in the last few years. So for us, it's obviously not. We don't make a difference there. Sadio, but it was nothing needed really. Sadio, for when you think about the last season to this season, I didn't have long talks or whatever with him. So I was a very confident person and knew and felt. We all felt it from the first day of the preseason. After a proper break, he was 100% there. And was clear. It was always clear if he will be lucky with injuries, it will be a really good season for him because that's the quality he has, and that's what it shows now. So I cannot refer often enough about how important it would be for these kind of players that they have a proper break. We can speak about that until the next 20 years, and the authorities will not change anything. So that's really tough for the boys. But this year, Mo and Sadio had a proper break, and in a moment we get the benefit of that.
Thank you, Chris. And then we'll go to full course. Chris.
Yeah, just to go back to Rangnick a little bit, it's been described as the godfather of the gegenpress. So just wondering, do you see your ideas as very similar to Ralph? And if so, do you see your ideas of football very as similar? It's kind of been simplistically been said that he's kind of like the philosophy of football is the same as yours. I don't know whether that's true or fair. But if it is true, do you think that it sort of validates? I mean, your method. To put it simply, it looks like other clubs are trying to copy what Liverpool's success or your success personally. That's what they're trying to do by getting in a guy who plays a high pressing game, and a lot of other clubs are doing that. But I just wonder if is that too simple way of looking at it, and are your
somehow right, somehow not. It's not too important, really. So, you say like this, Ralph, and if he starts with his wonderful press conference, and he will say that probably he had a mentor when he was very young, as a young coach. His name was Mr. Gross. We partnered him for a while, and then he had this influence from a Kiev game, I think. So my influence came from Wolfgang Frank, so where I learned about this kind of things, and then we didn't meet for a long time, but the approach was for sure similar in the beginning, but then some ideas are similar. We are both determined to organize a team properly. That's all true, but in the end, then there's a moment when when it all splits in all directions, pretty much, because then you have to use so the very early starts of the pressing and gegenpressing development in Germany was purely without the ball. So gegenpress doesn't work. You lose the ball and go for it. But the first thing was like how to organize a team and to press properly, ball orientated defending. That's how it was called. That's how it all started years ago. In a time when in Germany still most of the teams, pretty much all the teams, still played 3-5-2 with a proper libero in behind. This kind of WM system, So like they called in Germany BM system. So that's when it started, and that's how we were all kind of educated. And then of course the younger ones. So I'm younger than Ralf. So, but I got he was already on duty in different clubs when I started the coaching. So I was influenced by Wolfgang Frank. That's the truth. So and I can't really compare it, but I know from all the talks that with him that a lot of ideas are not too far away from each other. That's for sure. But the job is then to do. You have an idea. You have to then adapt it to your team, and that's. I found it myself not that easy when you come in the middle of a season with 20 games between now and New Year's Eve. Pretty much, that's a massive challenge because the things you want to change, you have to train on the pitch, and that's a challenge we all face, obviously, because we don't have time for that. So either your team is already educated in that, or you need long meetings. That's the other chance you have. So it will be interesting.
Nice. Paul Ghost, and then if that's the final, that's Paul Ghost, and then Paul.
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask about Harvey. We've seen videos of Mia, working and trying to get back to fitness, and just wondering how far along he is in that. And given his age, is it kind of harder for him to recover mentally because he's such a young player, but also easier physically because he is so young, if you understand what I mean?
I do. I can't say me. I saw him running this morning. So it's now, we have this foot injury. So like, there are rusty mornings when you get up and it does feel well. So, but he's running outside, full body weight. Good sign. That's all fine. When he will be back, I have no idea. From a mental point of view, Harvey is rather an old soul, I would say. He's very mature for the young age, so he's completely fine, I would say, in the moment with the situation. He accepted it, deals with it, and everybody around tries to help him. But even when you think maybe I should cheer him up a little bit, it's rarely needed. He's obviously a brilliant family at home and is a rather positive fella. And yes, we all hope from a physical point of view that the young age helps him to recover quickly. But quickly is not so important. Fully is the main thing. So, and there's absolutely, as long, in a moment, I hope I don't eat my words, but I cannot see a scenario where we would or even think about rushing him back. It's just not. He's our long-term prospect, and each day we can get him back earlier is great, but we will not rush that.
Whereas Paul and Dominic, we need to, we will be a bit feel happy.
Yeah, you mentioned last week you were unhappy with opposing teams maybe targeting Sadio, happened at Atletico a couple of times, and then Arsenal. And it's Sadio who is affected by that, so maybe you take him off early in games. Is that something you've spoken to him about? You've spoken to him about?
Oh yeah, that's a much longer. It's a thing. Even when it was not obvious for the outside, you can see it in games that they go for him, that they want to wind him up. Yes, we weren't talking about that, obviously, but that was it's two different things. One is to make Sadio to make really aggressive. There was a game, I think it was against Flamengo in the World Cup final. Rafinha wanted to go for him after he caused him some problems when we played Bayern in the Champions League. It was obvious from the first second. It was really hard and wanted to, and then directly having a discussion with him. What do you want? So like fouling him and then getting up and tell him it was nothing. So these kind of things. But Sadio is now in an age where he's much better than that. Not that emotional anymore, but we all need our emotions, obviously, and sometimes we control them better and sometimes less. But yes, we had these talks, of course. But that was not about that, because it had nothing to do with the situations. I really think it had nothing to do with the situation against Arsenal. Pretty much it's a completely normal challenge. And then bam, and it was against Madrid, and I said, and against Atletico, it was obvious they had a red card. And I think you might remember that directly in the next situation, I think a player of Atletico went down and made 4 saldo mortale just to make sure. So now they get yellow or whatever as well. So that was what I was talking about. But
so what have you spoken to him about in terms of his off-pitch demeanour?
No. It's just that that we. So the headlines, we pay back with football.
Headlines are paid back with football.
We pay back with football, and especially you pay back with football. So whatever they do, they make a football bill.
Thank you. That's you. There we go.
That's great.